Hi everyone, welcome to another English First Additional Language lesson for grade 4s. We are currently in week 7. All right, for those of you who are here for the first time, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Marilette Geldenhuys. You can call me Mrs. Geldenhuys or Mrs. G, or anything you can remember really. Okay, let's quickly recap on Tuesday's lesson. I want to ask all of you to stop chatting in the chat room right now and just look at the screen. Remember, if you keep chatting when you ask you not to stop, when we ask you to stop, we're gonna disable the chat or you are going to be removed. And unfortunately, then you won't be able to return. So please don't let that happen. Let's just listen when it's time to look at the screen. Let's look at the screen. And when it's time to answer questions, let's use the chat room. All right, I'm so happy to be with you guys again. Who can remember what we did yesterday? We focused on language, but what specifically? Let me see if there are any answers. Now you're allowed to type. Okay, I'm going to help you a little bit. If you have the answer, you could just type it. You don't need to raise your hand. Past tense, yes, we did review past tense a little bit. What was the first thing we did? Look on the screen, you'll see we looked at the difference between commands and statements. So who can tell me how can we, if we're reading through a paragraph, how can we recognize or distinguish between commands and statements? Who can tell me something about a command? Let me see, who can remember anything about a command? What kind of word does a command start with? What's at the end of the command? What punctuation do we use? What other words can we use? We said most commands start with a verb. I see some of you have had lockdown for too long. Oh, there is an answer. Great, there's a verb. I want to ask you to, if it's possible, to type full sentences. Yes, commands start with a verb and then sometimes we said, but not always, what punctuation mark does it end in? Does it? Yes, there we go. Is it Joda that said an exclamation mark? There you go. Right, let's move on. We also did a quick activity on past tense sentences. Remember, we looked at the diaries of those 2 children and we wrote about what they did. I also asked you to do some homework for me and I'm still waiting to receive it. It's going to be fun and quick. So go to the website and download the worksheets for this week so that you'll be able to complete them and send them to me. All right, today we are going to do a comprehension exercise on a fun recipe. As you guys have probably noticed, this week we are looking at recipes and commands and the kind of language that is used in that kind of text where we give instruction to people. We will answer questions and look at the ingredients used, the method, and some possible adjustments. I see some of you are very excited to talk about food again. For me, it's a bit hard because I just get hungry. And yes, I think after this lesson, you are going to be a little hungry again. So the first slide, look at the title and the pictures. Can you guess the ingredients used for this recipe? Maybe you've made it before, maybe you haven't, but you can see some things on the picture. Let me see who of you are very sharp. The title is Party Faces. Someone guessed egg. Not as far as I know. No egg in this recipe. Sweets and biscuits. What kind of sweets? What kind of biscuits? Sprinkles, icing. Good. Sweets, icing, biscuits, flour. That flour is the flour that grows in a field. If you're talking about flour that we use in the kitchen, it's spelled F-L-O-U-R. Remember that, even though it sounds the same. No eggs in this one, guys. This one you don't even need to bake. So it's going to be much easier to make than the pizzas that we did on Monday. This one you can make without eggs, without flour. You could just find a bunch of things and put them together. Smarties, there we go. All right. I see we have a question. Where can we download the worksheets from? I'm going to ask the host to just post the link for you guys if you don't have it, and then you can go download the worksheets. Okay, so before we do that, let's just look at the picture. Some of you said biscuits. So what round biscuits do you know in South Africa? It's white or cream colored round biscuits. Someone said Oreos, but Oreos are black. Yes, Mari biscuits. There you go. And what are these round sweets in the middle? I know someone already said Smarties, but there's something else. Jelly tots, there you go. And the black, what do you think the black is? No, this is not chocolate, but I'm guessing you can use chocolate on this recipe. Licorice, there we go. And someone's, is it Gabriel? Your spelling is very good. Yes, it's licorice. Right, so let's look at the recipe. First, we are going to read together the whole recipe. Remember, we spoke on Monday, we spoke about the 2 different or sometimes 3 different parts of a recipe. We have the ingredients and the method, and then sometimes we also have the utensils listed. So I want you guys to read out loud with me to practice your reading, because this is not a listening exercise today. This is reading comprehension. So I want all of you, right where you are, just read with me. All right, let's look at the ingredients. 12 Mari biscuits, 1 cup icing sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of pink food coloring, 1/4 teaspoon of blue food coloring, Smarties, jelly tots, licorice shoelaces. Okay, let's read the method together. Remember, you have to read with me. Put icing sugar in a bowl and add 2 tablespoons of water. Mix until smooth. Divide the icing into 2 bowls. Add different coloring to each bowl. Spread biscuits on a tray. Cover them with the icing using a blunt knife. Decorate the biscuits to look like faces using the Smarties, jelly tots, and shoelaces. Leave to set. All right, so this text comes from your Rainbow English Grade 4 textbook. Some of you, I know you are using this textbook, but if you're not using the textbook at school, there's no problem. You can get the recipe from this video when it's uploaded. And also I see the link is there where you can find your homework sheet. So be sure to go back to that at the end of the lesson and send me your homework, please. All right. Before we can answer these questions, we're going to look at the questions and then go back to the different parts and read them again. But before we do that, we need to know what is being asked. All right, so look at the screen. Here we see number 1. Now, remember what you've already heard, and try to answer. If you have a piece of paper with you, jot down the answers quickly if you already know what the answer is, but we are going to go back to the ingredients and read it again so you can find the answers that you don't know yet. I also want to remind you guys to turn off your cameras. Yes, there you go. Don't join with video, just join with your, just as you are, no video, no audio. Right, number 1, how many different ingredients are there in this recipe? So don't answer yet. I don't want to see any answers. You can answer on a piece of paper if you have one in front of you. How many Mori biscuits will you need? Number 3, how much icing sugar will you need? And number 4, how many Smarties would you need if you used 2 Smarties per Mori biscuit? So there's a little bit of maths also for you. So before we answer, let's read the ingredients again, because all these questions are about the ingredients. 12 Mori biscuits, 1 cup icing sugar, a 1/4 teaspoon of pink food coloring, a 1/4 teaspoon of blue food coloring, Smarties, jelly tots, licorice shoelaces. All right, so now you can start answering. Number 1, how many different ingredients are there in this recipe? Please type out the full sentence, guys, because in the exams, you have to write a full sentence. So I'm not going to even look at your answers if there's just a number. How many different ingredients are there in this recipe? So let's count. We have the Mori biscuits, that's 1. The icing sugar, that's 2. And then we have pink food coloring, blue food coloring, Smarties, jelly tots, and licorice shoelaces. Yes, I see many answers coming in now. There we go. There are 7 ingredients. Some of you say there are 8 ingredients. Some of you say there are 6 ingredients. So let's look at the answer. What do you think? There are 7 ingredients. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think those of you who said 6, you probably counted the food coloring as 1, but because there are different colors, I counted them as 2 different ingredients. Remember also, I don't know if you know how to make a capital letter on your computer or on your device that you're watching this on, but if you do know, please try to use the capital letter when you answer the questions, and also use a full stop or any other punctuation mark, like an exclamation mark at the end of your sentence. Number 2, how many Mori biscuits will you need? Remember, 12 Mori biscuits is not a full sentence. We need a verb in a sentence to make it a sentence. There you go. I think it's Gabriel again who said, you will need 12 Mori biscuits. Let's look at my answer. You will need 12 Mori biscuits. Perfect. That is perfect. Number 3, how much icing sugar will you need? How much icing sugar will you need? Remember to start with a capital letter. You have to have a verb. Now the Mori biscuit answers are coming through. How much icing sugar will you need, guys? Nokwanda said you will need 1 cup icing sugar. That's perfect. You will need 1 cup icing sugar. Very good. Let's reveal the answer here. You will need 1 cup of icing sugar. Great. Number 4, how many Smarties would you need if you used 2 Smarties per Mori biscuit? Now remember, the recipe doesn't say how many you have to put on 1 biscuit. So this is just if you decided to put 2 Smarties on each biscuit, how many Smarties would you need? There we go. Yes. Someone said, no, Kwanda said, you will need 24 Smarties. Let's see if that's the correct answer. Yes, perfect. You will need 24 Smarties. All right, so let's quickly go through the questions again, or through the answers. I just want to show you that there are verbs in every sentence. So number one, if you're answering a comprehension test and you write something down and you're not sure if this is a complete sentence, the first thing you need to check is there a capital letter? Then you check for your punctuation at the end, and then you check if there's a verb. And you guys know your verbs because you told me it's something that you can do. It's a doing word. So let's look at number one. There are 7 ingredients. Which word there is the verb? Sorry, guys. Which word is the verb? There are 7 ingredients. Does anyone know? There are 7 ingredients. Someone said no verb. Someone said 7. Will. Ingredients. Guys, look at number one's answer. There are 7 ingredients. If there's really no verb, then that means that this is not a sentence. So let me show you. Here is your verb. There are 7 ingredients. Remember, words like am, is, and are, and was, and were, they are also verbs. Even though you can't think of the action, they are still verbs. So this sentence does have a verb. Oh, now I see all the answers coming through. Many of you have the right one, the right answer. All right, how many Mari biscuits will you need? And the answer is you will need 12 Mari biscuits. So what do you think is the verb in this answer? I don't know how much detail you know about verbs yet. So let's just say there are 2 words that form part of the verb, the phrase that makes out the verb. Someone said verb, will, someone said need. But both of them will need. There you go. How much icing sugar will you need? You will need 1 cup of icing sugar. What's the word? What's the verb there? The same, right? You will need 1 cup of icing sugar. And then the last one is the same because the question was how much would you need or will you need? So we just use the same structure. Great. Let's move on to the next slide. So there you have the method. Before we read the method again, let's look at the questions. Number 5. Why do you need to divide the icing into 2 bowls? Remember, don't give me your answers yet. Just write them down if you have a piece of paper. Number 6, which 3 ingredients do you need to make blue icing? Here I'm going to test who of you have actually been in the kitchen and have made something. Number 7, what do you do after you have spread the icing on the biscuits? Number 8, name 2 reasons why you think you should use a blunt knife and not a sharp one. And number 9, what utensils do you need to follow this recipe? Okay, so now with all the questions in mind, let's read the method again and try to just remember when we get to one of the answers. And I want all of you to read it out loud with me. Here we go. Put icing sugar in a bowl and add 2 tablespoons of water. Mix until smooth. Divide the icing into 2 bowls. Add different coloring to each bowl. Spread biscuits on a tray. Cover them with the icing using a blunt knife. Decorate the biscuits to look like faces using the Smarties, Jelly Tots, and the shoelaces. Leave to set. All right, let's see who can answer these questions. Number 5, remember your complete sentences. Why do you need to divide the icing into 2 bowls? Why do you need to divide the icing into 2 bowls? Someone said to make sure they don't become purple. That is a good reason, but let's explain that answer to someone who knows nothing about anything. Someone said, we are asked to divide the icing for pink and blue. Yes, so you guys have the right idea. It's because we are using 2 different colors of icing. There is the answer that I made. You will make 2 different colors of icing. So anything to do with the 2 colors will be correct, because if we mix them in one bowl, then it will change color, right? It will become purple. You are so smart, because that's actually one of my questions later on, and you've already answered that. So yes, you have to separate them if you want 2 different colors of icing. Number 6, which 3 ingredients do you need to make blue icing? So let's look at the method over here. It says here, there's a little bit of the answer, but then we still need a 3rd ingredient. Who can make a sentence of what we need? There we go. Remember your complete sentences. You can't just name them. Which 3 ingredients do you need to make blue icing? You will need blue coloring. Yes, that's one. Someone said icing, sugar, blue coloring, and water. Just remember to put them in a question, in a full sentence. You need icing, sugar, water, and coloring. Obviously, you can also say and blue coloring, but you cannot say pink coloring, because you cannot use pink to make blue icing. Number 7, what do you do after you have spread the icing on the biscuits? So then go back if you don't know. You have to find the sentence that says something about spreading the icing on the biscuits, and then check what is done after that. What do you do after you have spread the icing on the biscuits? There we go. Gabriel, you're so good. You will decorate the biscuit. There we go. See? Because there it says, cover them with the icing using a blunt knife. And what's the very next step? Decorate the biscuits. There you go. Nokwanda also has the correct answer. Decorate the biscuits. You decorate the biscuits to look like faces. Let's go to number 8. Name 2 reasons why you think you should use a blunt knife and not a sharp one. Okay, so let's see who can think of the reasons. Because I don't tell you in this recipe why you should use a blunt knife, but you can think for yourself. Why do you think you need to use a blunt knife and not a sharp one? Someone said do not cut yourself. Remember, cut is spelled C-U-T. You will get hurt. Just reading the answers as they come in, and then I will reveal to you my answers. So it's smooth. I think that is the word. So you don't cut yourself to protect you. You can cut yourself to make it easy to spread. I've definitely seen both the correct answers. Let's look at the screen, guys. You are really, really smart because you came up with both the answers. You just used different words. The first one, it's safer than a sharp knife. Because remember, I told you in the kitchen, whenever you have to use something smart or something hot, something sharp or something hot, you have to call your mom or dad to help you. But it's safe for you guys to use a blunt knife because you can't cut yourself. with a blunt knife. So the first reason is definitely so that you don't cut yourself. So you can just say it is safer to use a blunt knife than a sharp knife. Yes, a butter knife is a blunt knife. I see someone said butter knife. And then the last reason that I have here is it works better for spreading. I don't know if you have tried spreading butter or something with a sharp knife. It just doesn't work well. So it's just more practical. It works better to spread something with, with a blunt knife than a sharp knife. I see some of you have actually tried it and some of you haven't. Right, the last question on this page. What utensils do you need to follow this recipe? So first, let's talk about the word utensils. Utensils are things like equipment that we will need to make something in the kitchen. Usually it's the smaller things, not like your oven or microwave oven, but the things that you will put in your cupboards, the things that you will use or take out to make something, but not the food, the other things. So let's go through the recipe together. And as you see something, just remember. So there we have put icing sugar in a bowl. Remember that. Add 2 tablespoons of water. There you can remember that. Mix until smooth. Divide the icing into 2 bowls. So we have more bowls. Spread biscuits on a tray. Cover them with the icing using a blunt knife. Right, I think that's all we can get from the recipe. Let me see what you guys wrote. Spoon, knife. Oh, where are my sentences? I just have lists here. A bowl, 2 mixing bowls. There we go. Gabriel gave us a sentence. You will need a bowl, a spoon, and a blunt knife, and a tray, and a cup. So Gabriel and all of you, just listen, a tip for when you're writing your sentences. Let's try to only use one and. So you will use comma, 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 and then right before the last one that you're naming, you will use and. So let's just look at that sentence that Gabriel wrote. You will need a bowl, a spoon, then you can leave out that and. You can say a blunt knife, a tray, and a cup. But apart from that, that is a really good sentence. Great. I want all of you to try writing complete sentences, guys. So let's look at my answer on the screen. You need bowls, a tablespoon, a tray, and a blunt knife. So I didn't say how many bowls. I just said bowls. So if you really want to count, you will need either 2 or 3, depending on if you're going to reuse the same bowl. Yes, so these are the utensils you will need. Let me just ask you one more question. Look at the very last line. Leave to set. Leave to set. What does that mean? What is leave to set? What does that mean? Does anyone know? Let me see. Make it dry, to let it harden, leave it to dry. All of those answers are correct. That's very good, guys. We have to leave it to dry before we can eat it. Yes, so you have to let it go hard. So because if we're using icing sugar or icing, when we use it, when we're busy using it, it's still in a liquid form, but after a while it will become hard. So let's just look at some more just adjustments that maybe we can do. What does it mean to adjust the recipe? What is the word adjust? What does that mean? Someone said make it fine. Fix. There you go. That's more on the right track. Add something. So adjust. Yes, I think you guys have the right idea. It's if we have to change something, to, maybe we don't have the exact same ingredients, so we're going to change something small about the recipe, or we can make it our own. We can try something new. So using their recipe, but we're trying to change it a little bit. Make it special. There you go. Make it so that it's something that it suits you. So that's how, let's see how we can adjust this recipe. What else can you use to decorate the Mori biscuits? So we've spoken about Smarties and jelly tarts and licorice. What else would you like to put on top? Now you can just name it. You don't need to write full sentences, just for the sake of time. Add chocolate. Yes, I love chocolate, so I will also just add chocolate. Ice cream might be hard unless you put the ice cream on right before you eat it. Ooh, in an ice cream cone, that's interesting. Sprinkles, yes, we can use sprinkles and jelly babies. Chocolate, custard. Remember, if you add something, anything that's a liquid, like, or that can melt, like ice cream or custard, then you have to eat it immediately. Otherwise, the biscuits will become soft. Ew, who said worms? I'm hoping you're talking about sour worms. All right, jelly beans, but not green. So Nokwanda doesn't like green jelly beans, I'm guessing. Caramel, sour worms. All right. Yes, I think you guys will be able to make some really yummy Mori biscuit icing faces for us. Wine gums. All right, the answers keep coming in. Let's look at the next question. Would you be able to use more Mori biscuits? What else would you need to change to make more party faces? So this one, we are using 12 Mori biscuits, but if you have a really hungry family, then maybe 12 will not be enough. So we'll have to adjust. So let's just look at the ingredients. If we make more, so let's make this 12. Let's say we want to make 24 Mori biscuits. How much icing sugar will we need then? Yes, we need to adjust everything. We can't, if we change one thing, then we need to change all the rest as well. Yes, we need 2 cups of icing sugar. How much pink food coloring will we need? This is a quarter, so if we take twice as much, it will be half a teaspoon, and another half teaspoon of blue food coloring. And then here with the toppings, you can just decide how much you want to use. Right, so we can adjust the recipe. Let's look at the next question. Now, someone has actually already answered this. Can you make purple party faces using the same ingredients? Can you make purple party faces using the same ingredients? Oh, you guys are very good at science, I think, because everybody's saying yes, 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 yes. What's the reason? Why can you, or how can you use the same ingredients to make purple party faces? Remember, we have pink and we have blue. Yes, we mix the pink and the blue because you learn in science that red and blue, or in art class maybe, red and blue together makes makes purple. And if you use, this is not red, this is pink, but it's a dark pink. I don't know if you guys have seen food coloring, but it's a very dark color. If you mix those two together, you will definitely get purple. So you can make 3 colors instead of 2 colors if you want to try this at home. And if you have different food coloring, you can make any color you want. If you have yellow, you can also make green or orange. You can try mixing different colors together and see what you can come up with. Remember to disable your video camera, guys. All right, the last question on this page. Would you be able to spread the icing on the biscuits and wait a few hours before decorate them? Would you be able to spread the icing on the biscuits and wait a few hours before you decorate them. Why or why not? People saying yes. You can, yes, no. Someone says no, it will be too hard to make the sweets stick. Interesting. The rest of you are saying yes, 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 yes. So I wonder which is it? Is it yes or no? Would you be able to spread the icing on the biscuits and wait a few hours before you decorate them? And Joda also said no, because the sweets will not stick. So the two people who said no, it's Gabriel. Yeah, it was Gabriel and I think Joda, right? You guys are correct. So very well done. No, you won't be able to wait because we need to put the sweets on while the icing is still soft. Otherwise, it will just fall off. So if you wait until the icing is hard, then nothing will stick to it. So you guys, well done. See, in a comprehension test, you will have many of these questions that make you think a little bit. Maybe you can't find the answers in the text, so you have to think, what will happen if I do this? And I'm glad to see that some of you are, oh yes, now everybody's saying no, 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 no. So everybody who said no, you are correct. I'm glad to see that you guys are thinking about it, that you're not just saying the first thing that pops into your mind. All right. Let's go on to the next slide. Ooh, sorry, guys. Your homework. Find a recipe suitable for children. Ask your mom or dad if you can try making it. You can even use the recipe that we just discussed. You can use the party faces recipe if you want. All right, so some ideas just to get you thinking. You can make a unique sandwich. Look at the one in the picture. I've never seen a sandwich like this. You can make a delicious dessert. You can make pancakes or homemade lemonade or a sweet treat. And if you don't have recipes at home, you can click on that link, or you can just Google recipes that children can make and you can try it. And then let's see what you have to do. Describe what you did as you followed the recipe. So now you are not going to write a recipe for me. You are going to describe the steps. So it's not going to look the same as a recipe. Guys, let's stop chatting in the chat room quickly and just look at the screen. So I want you to write down a sequence. I know you've done sequences. So you write, what did you do first? What did you do next? What did you do after that? And what did you do finally? So as you can see, this will not be the kind of, it would not look exactly like a recipe, because in a recipe, you just say, put it in the oven, take it out, mix it. But for this exercise, I want you guys to start your sentences with first I. So you'll say, first I mixed the icing, sugar, water, and food coloring. Then I spread it onto the Mori biscuit. So anything like that, you can choose any recipe. It would be nice. Or if you don't have anything, you can use the Mori biscuit one that we did today. And you can even try it at home. I'm sure all of you or most of you will have the ingredients for that at home, because you don't need to buy special things except maybe the sweets that you put on top. And you don't need to bake it. You don't need it's not going to take a long time. So I'm sure you guys can try this at home. So remember, you're going to write what ingredients did you use, and then you're going to write what you did first, next, after that, and finally. Do you all understand what you have to do for homework? Let me see. Yes, yes, I'm so glad. Right. And then when you're done, You can take a picture or you can draw a picture and send me a picture of your final product. Here is my email address. Make sure that you have the correct email address. Look at every letter, because if you skip one letter or number, I won't receive your homework. So let's look very carefully. marilet2007@yahoo.co.uk. This is not .za or .com, it's .uk. Make sure that you have that. All right, and if you just want to send me an email to tell me a little bit more about yourself, you're very welcome to do that. I'd love to get to know you guys. I want to invite you to tomorrow's lesson. We are going to look at recipes again and how to write them. We're looking at the structure of a recipe, and we will follow the writing process so that you guys can write your own recipe in the end. Remember to follow us on social media, and you can also go to the website to get your homework worksheets. Thanks everyone for joining us. I hope to see all of you tomorrow. Bye-bye.